Virginia Tech and Missouri continue to be two of the top dual teams in the country. Virginia Tech has the Best Duel of the Year award, in my opinion, against Ohio State earlier this year, and they came pretty close to topping themselves this Saturday in Columbia, Missouri. Unfortunately for Missouri, they took their first loss of the season and looked a little off all day at home. But, fortunately for Virginia Tech, they came to wrestle, upsetting the Missouri Tigers and smashing the tough Northern Iowa squad earlier that day. Before we get started on the duel breakdown, hi everyone, my name is Tanner and this is TrueTan Wrestling. If you are a fan of D1 college wrestling and you like breaking news stories, duel breakdowns, feel free to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Also, if you want me to cover any topics in college wrestling space, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Now, let's jump into Virginia Tech versus the Missouri Tigers. The duel started off with Noah Cern and Sam Latona at 125. Cern is making major jumps this year after being a third string at one point, but slowly working his way into the lineup as the MACA National starter last season. He continues to be productive for the Missouri Tigers after capturing a huge pin over returning All-American Sam Latona, who has been looking a little rough at 125 this season after a solid All-American run last year. Latona currently has a losing record with losses coming from Brody Teske in Northern Iowa that happened earlier that day, Noah Cern, of course, from Missouri, Mancino from Columbia, and Malik Heinzelman of Ohio State. All these losses are from great opponents, but all these opponents have questionable losses, and if you ask anyone a month ago, I would be willing to wager the only person I would bet to beat Sam Latona is maybe Brody Teske, but I even would consider that a long shot coming into this season. With all that said, that's enough about Sam Latona, and I would say congrats to Noah Cern, picked up a huge dual win and pin for the Missouri Tigers, and I'm assuming Latona is just having weight issues, so I hope he gets that under control as the season progresses, especially as they get into ACC competition later in the second half of the year. 133 saw Corbin Myers of Virginia Tech take out Crawford of Missouri. I honestly thought this would be a bonus points for Myers and Virginia Tech, but Crawford fought Myers tough. Only other thing to mention before we move on to 141 is where exactly is Schmidt for Missouri? Last year, Myers and Schmidt's match at Nationals was highly competitive, so I was very looking forward to this, but Schmidt hasn't wrestled all year, so hopefully he's healthy and returns soon. 141 saw Alan Hart of Missouri and Girardi match up against each other, and with some ups and downs, Alan Hart eventually did get the winning takedown in overtime. However, Girardi did not have the worst day in Columbia, Missouri, as he would beat Cale Happel of Northern Iowa, and Happel actually beat Hart earlier that day before the final match. 141 continues to show nationally that it is a very deep weight class along with a top-heavy top four. 149 was one of, if not the best match of the night, as we see Andonian of Virginia Tech go up against Edmond of Missouri. Andonian and Edmond have gone at it before in freestyle, but they let it fly this weekend in folk style. Andonian would ultimately win 10-4, but it was full of both wrestlers rolling on their back and being put in unorthodox positions constantly. This was Edmond's first real test of the year and first loss on his record. I still think he's the best option for the Tigers since Brock Mahler is on redshirt this season. It is also key to note that Edmond could possibly drop to 141 once Hart graduates and Mahler returns from redshirt next season or the season after. This is only considering if Edmond is undersized. He did wrestle off for the 141 spot last year, but who knows what kind of time he put in the weight room this offseason. 157 was a huge hand-fighting and technical battle between Brady of Virginia Tech and Jake Hughes of Missouri. Brady is a high Ohio recruit, and it's fun to see him improve to this level after his freshman campaign last year. Brady has also been a tough hand fighter throughout his career, and so is Jake Hughes, so I could see this match switching in March, because Jake Hughes is also a very good opponent. But for now, congrats to Brady and the huge win for Virginia Tech against Missouri. 165 was another bonus point win for Missouri, where we saw O'Toole major decision also highly recruited and young Clayton Ulrey. This was the first match of O'Toole's season to go to full distance, which is one positive I can say for Ulrey this match. All else I have to say is that every other 165 in the nation better watch out for O'Toole's cradle. I believe 174 rivals Edmond and Andonian at 149 for the best and exciting thriller of the night. 174 was an overtime win for Mekhi Lewis of Virginia Tech over Mako of Missouri. I really thought Mako looked better as the match got longer, but Mekhi for sure won the first two periods of the match, and then just gassed a little near the end, but ultimately got it done in sudden victory. Overall, Mako looked pretty well, considering Mekhi's Lewis skill level. Bolin of Virginia Tech and Ken of Missouri would be an exciting match at 184, but Bolin showed his expertise and why he is the better wrestler with the come from behind victory over Kent's. I think Bolin has made some small adjustments and improvements from his All-American run last year, but I'm very excited to see Kent grow for the Tigers because I think he has a really high ceiling, even after a loss to an impressive wrestler like Bolin. 197 saw junior world champ Rocky Elam with an 8-2 decision over Dakota Howard of Virginia Tech. Howard held Rocky to his first decision of the year, which was pivotal for Virginia Tech in this duel. Elam still looked great, and Howard is still a moderately productive member for the Hokies, and he did his best against the returning All-American Rocky Elam. This duel would end up coming down to heavyweight, with Noah Traxler of Virginia Tech, the transfer to Stanford, going up against Zach Elam of Missouri. Virginia Tech would be down, and whoever won this match would win the duel. Early in the year, Traxler would be in a similar situation, where he would eventually lose to impressive Ohio State heavyweight Orndorff, which gave Ohio State the duel victory. As we all know, though, Traxler came up victorious with an impressive overtime win over Zach Elam to clinch the duel for Virginia Tech over Missouri. I think both of these guys are great competitors, and I can see both of them slipping into maybe the 7th or 8th place spot at heavyweight. However, it is a deep weight class, but regardless of all that, this was still a fun heavyweight match that came down to the wire. So overall, why do I think Missouri didn't get it done at home? Well, there was a lot of factors that went into this. I knew the duel would be close, but I'll be honest, when Cern got that pin, even though it was the first match, I really thought Missouri was going to get things rolling, even though they had a slump against Northern Iowa. And then when Corbin Myers didn't get bonus against Crawford, that thought really started snowballing in my head, and I wasn't thinking too highly of Virginia Tech at the time. However, Brady taking out higher-ranked JQs and Ulrich holding O'Toole to a major decision really started changing the tides in my head, especially when Brady took out JQs. The Makai Mako match obviously was a breaking point in the duel, literally coming down to the wire. Obviously, whoever won that match was going to win the duel, but hindsight was 20/20 at that time. However, holding off Rocky Elam made a bigger impact than expected and really helped Traxler out in the long run. And of course, there was Boland's win over Jeremiah Kent's, which really helped the Hokies overcome and win against a very impressive Missouri squad. With all that said, I still think both teams will be major threats in March, and Missouri is still going to be one of my favorite dual teams to watch. They just put up points and get pins, which leads to a strong team in March. But unfortunately, Missouri doesn't really have the firepower just yet to be one of those top 4 teams, but I still think they are one of the best dual teams out there, and the same can be true for Virginia Tech. I would like to thank everyone for watching this video, and if you have any questions about my opinions or breakdown, feel free to leave a comment below. Some quick channel updates also, my Cliff Keen Las Vegas recap is currently in development, so I hope to get that video out sometime midweek. That video is obviously a lot larger than this one, so I wanted to get this video out because this duel was just so much fun and I just had to get my thoughts out and I knew I could put it together real quick. There were also other great duels like Lehigh versus Penn State, which is one of my favorite matches every year considering I am from Pennsylvania. And of course there was Iowa State, which I talked about in my Iowa lineup video, which you should all go check out if you haven't already. With all that said, I wish you all a great day, and if you like this video, feel free to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And that is an adios from me, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.